Coming up this week on Beyond the Vibe, we're joined by Karl and Jeff of the very newly formed Vandal Harts.
There's a photo of me 8, 9 months old, like in a nappy. My dad's holding me and I'm sat behind my uncle's drum kit. So I was always around music. Like my uncle played drums quite a lot. I never actually got to see him play any sort of like live shows. I mean, obviously I was very, very young, but every time I go to his house, like as I started growing up, I'd sit behind his kit and play.
Our musical genres span far wide. Like I'm a huge fan of prog. I love Tool, I love Mastodon, I love all these heavy bands, but it all just stems into like what we think will work, because we're not all into the same music, we're not all into the same things, but we are all into hard rock. So we're going into the studio at the start of Feb. We realistically just want to take that on tour. We want to take that out gig and we want to see what people think of it. Yeah,
I just wasn't expecting that answer.
No, it's not.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Vibe, the show that cuts deep into the world of music.
My name is Aaron Day, lead guitarist UK band These Wicked Rivers, and I'm here with music videographer and photographer. It's 2022 and it's Mr. Ryan Vasey.
It is New Year.
Very excited. I could see the end of that sentence, but it was like when I run down the stairs when the postman comes, you know. I couldn't stop, and I just ended up galloping towards
lose control and just fall down the
It's
stairs.
part of my natural talking style. I'm just so excited to be here on the Vibe in 2022, Ryan. It's a new year. Yeah.
It is.
What do you reckon to last year? It was an alright year, wasn't it? I enjoyed it.
It was good. It was, you know, we had returned to gigs.
Yes, we did.
Largely, which was cool.
We got to go to some gigs together, which we didn't do before, which was cool. So cool.
We got to do the gear show.
Yes, looking forward to doing more of them. Our first gig back, actually, in 2021, we had it at the Hairy Dog in Derby, and originally it was meant to be like the first standing show, but obviously lockdown rules came in, and we ended up sitting down, which was a weird vibe, and it was with Woolshaw.
Yes,
and that kind of leads us to our guests on this week's show, because obviously the sad passing of Tom, you know, but it's New Year and looking ahead to the next steps for Dale, and particularly Karl, as we interview himself and Jeff with Vandal Harts.
Yes,
new project.
It's the first kind of brand new band from its inception that we've had on the show since the hot.
I mean, it's very, very fresh as well. Like Vandal this is their first ever anything they've done, so it's a bit of an honour for us on the Vibe, you know.
This is it. It's we have to go back to, I believe, it's like episode 3 or 4 to have a completely new band. So you know, it was due.
We had a good chat with the boys, but yeah, just a quick roundup of the world of rock. You know, I've been we were chatting about this before the show, and we'd be interested to get your opinion on this. So, Judas Priest have just announced they're going to a 4-piece.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on this?
It's an anomaly because obviously they're doing it out of choice.
Yes.
You know, nobody's retiring, nobody's quit.
There was a press release that said that Judas Priest release where they said that Andy Sneap wanted to focus on his production stuff because I was a producer. Records albums with Testament. You know, I think he did. I think he did the last Priest album actually. He's a fantastic recording engineer and producer. But then he released a statement saying that wasn't the case, and he was asked to leave.
That's a bit awkward.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. I mean, if you're KK sat at home, you're probably thinking, hello,
I'm still here.
Hello. Yeah. I know all the riffs.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that is true.
I don't need to practice.
I know, it's difficult. Because I can't imagine Judas Priest without that kind of dual guitar.
Well, that's the whole staple of their sound, isn't it? You know, if you think of songs like Breaking the Law, you know.
It's like, how would they do that?
I don't know. I mean, I love Richie Faulkner. I think we've spoke before about the Priest and that Faulkner kind of rejuvenated them. And I think Sneap did as well. I think it was a good choice, you know, with Tipton obviously not able to play live. But it just feels like they're making a point out of the fact that they didn't want to bring KK back with this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'd rather have no one.
Have KK back, which I think is a little bit petty. You know,
it does feel a bit that way, doesn't it?
That the fans have have kind of reacted to that, you know. So yeah,
strange.
It is strange, but yeah, looking on to hopefully a band that will never have to deal with these such things.
Yes.
The lovely politics of band life. I mean, that was the vibe I got from them, that they seem like there's such a good energy with Vandal Harts, going back to them.
Yes,
real positive vibe between all of them.
Yeah, you know, they do go on to speak about, you know, they've had previous connections, and of course you can hear all about that now.
So we're here with Karl and Jeff of the newly formed exclusive. I mean, is this the first interview, boys? Is this the first?
This is literally first interview, man.
First anything, yeah.
First anything. I mean, we're on it, aren't we? We're on it.
We're in early.
Yeah, this is the Vandal Harts. Thanks for joining us, boys.
No worries, guys. We all good?
Yeah, we're all right, aren't we?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah, all the better for having you boys here.
Well, man.
Not kiss arse enough.
Oh, you can if you want.
Let's not start, all right? We've got a strong professional. All right, let's try and keep to it.
Oh dear. So we like to kick things off by taking a look at the origins of a musician. So when was the first time you guys remember hearing music and thinking, like, this is what I want to do? Did you both have like a moment?
For me, yeah, it was. So my dad used to have an old vinyl record player in the corner of the living room, and every Sunday morning he would always put the same records on and blast them as loud as he possibly could. So it was like David Bowie's Hunky Dory album, like Nick Kershaw, like even stuff like Wheatus Teenage Dirtbag. Anything he was into, just blast it at the top of the volume. And that sort of set me off on an interesting, like, you grasp something, don't you, when you're that young? You don't know what it is, but you sort of grasp it. And yeah, just went from there.
Awesome, man. What about you, Karl?
And for me, I mean, obviously going back, well, there's a photo of me probably where I was about, I don't know, 8-9 months old, like in a nappy. My dad's holding me and I'm sat behind my uncle's drum kit. So I was always around music. Like, my uncle played drums quite a lot. I never actually got to see him play any sort of like live shows. I mean, obviously I was very, very young, but every time I go to his house, like, as I started growing up, I'd sit behind his kit and play. And then again, like Jeff said, and I think anyone that's got a musical background, it normally stems from their parents. My dad was constantly blasting music, and my whole family, uncle, say drummer, the other uncle, guitarist. I've just been brought up massively around like a lot of music. So for me, it was just like, did that. Then went to football, believe it or not. Got to secondary school, ditched football, started learning to play drums because I could. Never looked back from there, man.
Oh, it's killer, man. Jeff, in terms of, obviously, for those that don't know, you play guitar and obviously lead vocalist in the band. What came first for you? Because sometimes we have disgruntled guitarists that get forced into it. Sometimes we have singers where it's...
Well, that stop right there. The first one, absolute.
That's it, bang, we got
It's our most popular one, that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was always guitar. Like, I'm a big gearhead. I love gear. I love all that sort of stuff. But in terms of trying to make something work, like for this band, for example, this is the first time I've been a lead singer in probably about 8 years.
Wow.
So the only reason that's come about is I want to do music more than I don't want to sing. So if I have to be the singer, let's go, you know.
Amazing. So how come you've ended up then in that role? Is that down to Karl, peer pressure, turning up at the house, you know? Is that a communal thing in the band? Like, how's that come about?
So me and Matt, the bass player, we started this project about a year ago. We started writing songs. Just me and Matt are very good at coming up with lyrics, whether we can sing or not. Like, we know what we've been around music so often that we know what we think works. So we've been doing this for about a year. Started writing, and then to get into a room and start practicing, well, you need a guitarist, you need a bassist, you need a drummer, and ultimately to make that go as far as it can possibly go, you need someone to sing. So I said, look, I'll do it if it'll move us forward, you know, if it'll get us off the starting line. And ultimately it's just stuck. It works. we've talked about other vocalists in the past, but if we just want to move forward, we just said we'll just stick with the four of us.
Yeah, man. Well, if it's not broke, you know, don't.
Yeah,
no point
exactly.
trying to find a reason to fix it, you know. And sometimes that formula works really well, and you'll naturally all grow with that as well as yourself as a vocalist.
Yeah.
Now, but, yeah, definitely, man. I think people it'd be cool for people getting into the band as well to know that and to grow with you boys as well. Now, obviously, we joked about it at the start around that. Obviously, this is like, you know, your first interview, and we're very honoured to have the Vandal Harts for that. For people that are obviously checking you guys out, what can you tell them about the sound and kind of the identity of the band?
What do you reckon? So, I mean, we're definitely like a classic rock, hard rock outfit. I mean, we've got influences, they range massively. I mean, we can talk about that at a different point, but it's definitely the vibe we're going for. Again, it's just hard hitting, like hard rock, like very energetic, sort of like live presence. And like I said, obviously, like you said there, first interview, everything's very new. So we're just very excited to get out and let people see what we've created. So yeah.
Imagine, boy. It's difficult because obviously you've probably not felt it for a while as well, Carl, obviously being with Wolfjaw for such a long time. Like I was chatting to Rye before, me and Rivers have been together for fucking like 8 years now. And I remember that feeling when you first step into a practice room and you're starting to lay them foundations down. Like it's like a relationship. It's kind of the best bit, you know, because it's exciting, man, isn't it?
Definitely, man. Definitely. Like you said, obviously from playing with Wolfjaw and stuff, but then obviously coming into this role, it's great. Like even down to like just everything behind it. Like I said, it is like a new relationship. You get into, like, me and Jeff have known each other since we were like 10 years old.
Me and Karl have been playing in bands since we were 14.
Oh, that's right.
So like we've known each other for a long time, and this is like been a long time coming, really. But yeah, it's very, very exciting. Like, down to like just like booking shows again, like just sat at a laptop for hours, like the four of us, like doing this, doing that, and you know, getting into a room and writing new material, and then doing things like this, introducing yourself as a band to the world, and then going out to play your first shows and thinking, are people going to like us? Obviously, we haven't got a following at the moment, you know, but we're excited to go out and attract that following, hopefully, and gain friends and fans that will hopefully follow us around if we do our job right. So yeah, it's exciting. It's a nice stage to be in. You are right. Yeah,
we're excited to hear it as well.
Of course.
Yeah, it's exciting, man.
Would you say, for both of you guys, would you say it's kind of a more of a departure from what you've done previously, or is it kind of in the same wheelhouse? Obviously we know about Wolfjaw, but there's of course Orchard Grey and Dirty Pool. You know, is that similar?
Well, for me, Dirty Pool was going on 9 years ago, and that started off as like a blues cover band. We were, at the time, as soon as like you get into music, usually it starts off, you get into the heaviest thing you can get into, and then you work your way backwards. So it always ends up at the blues. I met Matt through that initial relationship. We just wanted to go out there, play BB King covers and Joe Bonamassa and Stevie Ray Vaughan and all those old school boys. And again, first time I've ever sing, first time I've really wanted to front a band. But like Karl says, we're all into, our musical genres span far wide. Like I'm a huge fan of prog. Like, I love Tool, I love Mastodon, I love all these heavy bands, but it all just stems into like what we think will work, because we're not all into the same music, we're not all into the same things, but we are all into hard rock. So that's where we sort of lay the foundation.
For me, obviously, like you've mentioned, obviously with Wolfjaw and stuff, so towards the end of Wolfjaw, I found myself with some extra time, and so me and Jeff, I mean, we were housemates for like 2 years before I moved out. And I mean, you've been pestering me for a long time, haven't you? Like, when are you going to come play drums for us? When are you going to come play drums for us?
Oh yeah, it's always been the butt of the joke. You know,
well, it feels like you owe it him, Carl. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, played in bands for a long time, you know.
I mean, quite possibly. I mean, it's like I said, it's been a long time coming. Like, I'm not just talking from the last couple of years. Like, say, we were in our first band together back at like 12, 13 years old. But so before the end of Wolfjaw, I found myself with some extra time, and Jeff asked me again if I'd consider sort of coming in. And I was like, yeah, definitely, like, alongside Wolfjaw, I'll have this as like a side project. And then we went out for a beer, and side project went from, actually, no, how about I just join the band alongside with Wolfjaw. And then, as yourselves and many of you know, obviously the worst imaginable happened. I won't go too much into that because there's no need, but that happened. And then that was kind of, for me, I was like, right, okay, well, this is already going on, but just need to take a step back for the second, get my head straight and everything else. But then once I kind of got a bit of clarity into my life again, it was like, right, bang, okay, let's go back into a room. And yeah, like, that's kind of where we're at now, really. Like, it's sort of into a new year. It definitely start a time for new beginnings for many, many different things. And just sort of, hey, hit the ground running and just see what we can make of it, and just try damn hardest, and most importantly, just have a good time doing it, you know?
Yeah, 100%, man. And we spoke when we, for those that don't know, the reason this is happening is because me and Carl met pissed up in a pub in Nottingham on Saturday. And this is where I also met Jeff and the rest of the band. So this is, I mean, it's meant to be. The universe meant for it to happen. And we had a good chinwag and stuff, and straight away it was like, yeah, got to get the band on the podcast. And I think one of the things you spoke about there, Carl, if I remember rightly, because obviously my brain was a little bit hazed, is kind of that music is probably the best therapy for situations like we've all been, sadly served, and I think to do it with a group of friends, like with Jeff that you know so well, I think seems like the best possible foundation to kind of move on to that next chapter, perhaps for yourself.
Oh, definitely, man, 100%. I mean, even without, like you said, what I've just been through personally, and every person on the planet has been through it at some point in their life, and it's something we'll all go through. Music is a healer, man. It's huge. Like, you could be happy, you can be sad, doesn't matter. Like, you can lock yourself in a room, stick some headphones in, turn your stereo up, blast it. It's one of those things. And I think on top of that, being a musician, like, getting into a room with like 3 of your best mates and just doing what you love doing, it's such a good release. I mean, especially for me, I get to sit behind a drum kit for 3 hours and smack the living hell out of it. It's great fun. But you are right, it is therapy, because whether you're in a practice room, whether you are on a stage, or whether you're walking through town with your headphones in and you're pretending that you're on stage, it's just, you can just turn off from like your life for whether it be that half an hour you're on stage. You just get to turn off, and you kind of just get to be like a different person, or if you're not being a different person, you can just turn off and just think about what you're doing, enjoy it. And the minute you come off stage again, then obviously it all comes back, but you're on a high, and because of what you've just done. And yeah, like I think the real key phrase of that all is music it's therapy, and it really, really does help. I think I find it does anyway. So
no, and it feels like, obviously doing it with someone that you know so closely with Jeff, it feels like the perfect foundation for it, man. Like you said, we don't want to touch on it too much, but obviously there'll be people watching this, obviously Wolfjaw fans, and might have missed you and Dale's live stream, in terms of that, when Tom sadly passed, you were working on that third release. For those that haven't seen that live stream, you're right, just to give some details around the plans for that, just so that we can kind of
of course. So like you said, if anyone didn't catch the live stream with me and Dale, so that was all, first and foremost, we basically wanted to sit down and thank every single person, firstly from the start right through to the end of what was Wolfjaw, Bad Flowers and Wolfjaw. But most importantly, we want to thank every single person that donated to our Just Giving page, that was obviously set up for Tom's wife, Heather, and his 2 boys, Milo and Bodie. And basically, me and Dale wanted to stand and say thank you to everyone. That's extended from Heather, the boys, all the rest of Tom's family, because it really has been a massive, massive help. It's really helped. It's helped a lot. It's just put a lot of ease for Heather and the boys, and for a lot of different things. Secondly, we wanted to just sort of thank everyone for being patient, just because a lot of merch orders were made around the time of Tom's passing. That live stream was done from our lockup. It was probably the second, maybe third time we got into the lockup. We haven't had the time, I suppose, the mental capacity to go in and sit and go through every single merch order. So those are coming. If you say you didn't see it and you're watching this now, those merch orders are coming. We're getting them sent out. Say we've had to do a run of back orders and stuff as well. And then we spoke about the album. Obviously, our third album was due to be released in the next couple of months. We've been recording that with Mike Exeter down at Gospel Oak Studios. Everything had been recorded for that album, everything except from vocals. So obviously that puts us in a bit of a position. We had to make quite a tough decision, but that decision has been made, and basically we're going to honour that album. One, for ourselves, because we've worked damn hard for it and we think the music's fantastic. But two, for Tom, you know. So it just means that you lot are going to have to put me and Dale screeching into a microphone on this album. But, you know, like it's one of them. So it's going to happen. And then the other thing was, the last thing was, me and Dale had both received messages around about the sort of time that Vandal Harts page had gone live, saying like, "Oh my God, are you and Dale not playing together anymore?" Me and Dale are going to be playing together at some point. We have got a few plans in the pipeline, but again, that's completely separate to this. But yeah, things will happen. And say if that is something the guys or anyone that's watching is interested in, like, keep an eye out. Like, you'll see something down the line. So, but yeah, that was basically what our live stream. I'd say in a nutshell, but that was a pretty damn big nut, wasn't it?
I think you put it across quite well.
Because it was on parts, mate. I
know, it's beautiful. You know, it's like you condensed like all of the Lord of the Rings films into about 2 minutes.
There's so much there.
But no, you did well, man. And it was a good. You know, I think you and Dale put it across really well in the live stream. You know, it was cool.
Oh, thanks, man.
Of course, speaking of you know, albums and things like that, do you guys have any kind of plans in the future for maybe an EP or something to release?
Yeah, so we've got what we've written at the moment, and we realistically just want to take that on tour. We want to take that out gigging. We want to see what people think of it. But in terms of getting those shows, you have to have something to show people to get those shows.
It's difficult.
So, literally. So we're going into the studio at the start of Feb. Awesome. We're going to record a tune, and it's there for us to be able to help us go out there and gig, you know. But we're not going to slack. We're going to do it. We're going to do it properly, and it's going to be a proper single. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I think the plan is, like Jeff just said, get into the studio, start of Feb, say get first single down, hopefully with the release date sort of within a month that they've been recorded, and so we're probably sitting on 5 or 6 tunes, and then there's 2 extras that sort of need work. But I dare say, like, not too far after the singles release, we're going to start looking at getting to a studio. I'd probably say get an EP down, and like I said, get on the road and just say get the music out to people. I think
just want to play, you know. Like, it's because of obviously COVID and everything. Like, everybody's been brought down to this level now where obviously everything costs money. The only thing that doesn't cost money is doing what you want to do, which is go out and play. So now that we all can go out and play, I think that's what everyone wants to do, you know.
Well, it's hard, isn't it? Because I think particularly like we spoke when you form a new band and you start to get into the material and you get excited by it, the main thing you immediately think is this is going to be sick live. Oh, this bit in this song, people are going to lose their shit. You know, some woman's going to take a top off to this bit. Do you know what I mean? You then and you visualize it when you're in the room together. So that's immediately. But as you say, Jeff, it's difficult because the first thing people say at gigs is, "Have you got any CDs?
Yeah.
Have you got anything out there?" You know, so that's the kind of the pressure that you've got. So I think heading into the studio early, and I love the energy as well, boys. It feels like you very sort of know where you want to be, sort of, and just want to get out there and just sink your teeth into it, which I think is great.
Yeah, well, it's a big driving force between obviously everything that's happened with Karl, and it's almost like any situation when you have all that and it's taken away from you, you're immediately at a loss, aren't you? Like, so from Karl's perspective, definitely wanted to get out there again. For all the lads in the band, it's been a long while since we've been able to go out there properly, and having the contacts and having the knowing is very useful, and we're ready. We just want to go.
Awesome. No, I love that hunger. Jeff, in terms of the songwriting process, obviously you spoke, you've got about 5 or 6 songs there and a few more needing work. How have you found it, kind of like you say, coming back into that band dynamic, you know, and coming from different bands and different influences? You know, did it take an initial sort of kind of settling in period for you all to work out what the sound of the band was going to be?
Not really, because obviously, so I mentioned Matt beforehand. So Matt plays bass in the band, and me and Matt used to be in Dirty Paul together.
Right.
So from a charismatic point of view, I know we work really well together. Like,
confidence is already there.
Yeah, we know we can write. We know we can come up with lyrics. Whether they're any good or not is a different story. But we know and we feel that we can write solid material that works, at least to us. So when it came into this band and we started writing, we were pretty confident that we didn't know where it was gonna go, but we knew we could do something. Yeah. And the vision was to just, because it was COVID, because it was lockdown, it was just write, keep writing, because when all this finishes and all this is said and done, we'll be able to go out. We can look for a lead guitarist, we can look for a drummer, and we can just hit the ground running.
No, that's cool. And I imagine for you, Karl, how did you find it coming in and there already being sort of a wealth of material there? And how did you find it sitting behind the kit and kind of it being a different vibe from what you're used to? Because it's a different drumming style, I imagine, isn't it?
To be quite honest, being in that practice room, even when I was with Wolfjaw, was odd. It was exciting, but it was odd. Do you know that episode of Friends where Ross cheats on Rachel and she asked how it was? Like, it was nice. It was different. Like, that's kind of how it was. Like, it was nice. Like, I love playing music, and like I said, Wolfjaw, like, I wouldn't change a thing musically with what we did. But yeah, it was nice to get into a room with guys I knew and just play something completely different. Like, because say we'd literally go into a rehearsal room and play the same 8, 9, 10 tracks over and over again, making sure our set was solid for whatever it was we had coming up. So to go into a room and play something where I had complete free reign on whatever I wanted to play was really nice. Going into the room for the first time after like Tom passing was difficult, like, because at the time it was like I was playing with Wolfjaw and then coming into the room with these boys and it was okay, like, it was fine. And then after everything, it was like, okay, now I feel like it was hard. I think you boys kind of noticed that, didn't you? It was like,
you made it very well aware. Obviously, after everything that happened, we were the last thing that we wanted Karl to think about. Like, we literally said, get your head straight, like, do whatever you need to do. We're not going anywhere. We'll sit, we'll wait, like, because we've been searching for a drummer for so long, and regardless that the stage of friends we were at, like, it's a good thing we were friends because we knew what was more important at that point, you know.
But in terms of the writing with these boys and stuff and settling, it's been really, really easy. Like,
that's a good thing.
The style of music we're playing, it's really fun to play. And again, because it's so new, it's like I say, it's refreshing. I've just got free reign. Like, I'm not going to say I felt like I got stuck in a rut or in like a certain playing style with Wolfjaw, because I always felt what we produced as a band was fantastic. I mean, I may be biased, but that's just, you know, I loved every single aspect and every single second of like that experience in my life. It was amazing. But say it's a new experience. It is exciting. And so I've just got this real nice, like, it's just so open that I can do whatever I want, especially because the songs were already wrote. It was just come in and like play what I kind of felt fit. And if it didn't work, we sort of like swap and change and stuff. But the writing style is definitely different to how Wolfjaw were. But again, like, it's really easy, really relaxed and really open. So yeah, it's good.
No, it's cool, man. It's cool.
Now we like to kind of throw some weird questions at us.
We love a weird question.
You're both weird, that's
yeah, well, this is true.
So hypothetically, for your first release, you've been told, you got to make an album, but it has to be another genre to what you guys have both done before. So what genre would that be?
Imagine you've been picked up by a label,
yeah,
right? And they've gone, do you know what? We could see the potential there, but we're not sure of this sound. but we're going to let you pick what the new sound will be.
And you can't walk.
So basically, they've just slagged off what the band's already done, which is a bit rude, really.
And they've trapped you in a room and they've said you can't leave until you've finished it.
Yeah, me and Ryan. It's not me and Ryan doing this. We've not thought about this. Yeah, was there any particular thing that
I have no idea.
Or what some people do in this scenario is they think of one member in the band that hates this certain thing, and then that's why they pick it. Quite an interesting.
It's like a rebellion.
Yeah.
Something that I think would actually be good would be more towards like film music. I'm a big filming, and I love
like, I just wasn't expecting that answer.
No,
It's a cool answer.
But it's something that at least it's like if you take a paintbrush away from an artist, like what do you expect him to do? But if it's involved with music just in a different way, that's interesting to me. That's creative. Like I can't try and enjoy a style of music that I don't enjoy.
Yeah, definitely.
But if I can do something experimental in like a film score or something, I think that would be something I could be interested in. Yeah.
What about you, Carl? You look like you were shitting it there.
Yeah.
What am I going to play along to this film score music that Jeff's written?
Easy. Grindcore jazz.
It's just
course.
That's
media.
the one.
That's the one.
Natural answer.
Ryan had actually written down Carl Grindcore Jazz.
Grindcore jazz.
Grindcore Jazz sorted, right? Well, if you ever get in a creative rut, and you feel like the sound of the band's struggling, Carl's got the. I mean, maybe don't mix the two of them.
I was going to say maybe we could have a mashup of that.
I don't know. I Grindcore Jazz. I don't know. It's making me feel.
It'd be an interesting film, wouldn't it?
It'd be an intense.
Yeah.
It'd be like being on acid watching a film like with a
psychedelic movie.
Yeah, I think maybe there's a market for it. I don't know, but yeah,
maybe
if you struggle creatively, boys, as you're nailing down them songs in the studio, just remember.
Yeah,
Carl's got. Remember this conversation. Yeah, Carl's got an idea in his back pocket. Now, obviously, like as you've probably picked up on, boys, me and Ryan have kind of a set of questions that we like to ask certain artists, depending on the series of the podcast. And obviously, with you boys, it's a bit different because it's the early kind of literally the first few months of the band. Where do you see the band in 10 years' time? For both of you personally, do you have personal goals that you'd always wanted to achieve in bands that you feel this band can achieve? Do you have like a trajectory?
I did when I was younger. When I think we all did. Like we all have these goals that we all like to hit. And because I know Carl hit them all for me. So I didn't need to do anything. He played Download, he played Blood, so I'm happy,
That's cool.
I know I'm not that old, but I've got to an age now where I don't have any aspirations other than playing in a band, Like, how many times have we all been on Join My Band? And you all try and find people and it never works out. I'm just lucky that I get to play in a band with my 4 best mates, 3 best mates. So, like that for me, I'm happy. We'll just keep moving forward and yeah, good.
So in 10 years' time, you'd be happy if you could look around and it's the same geezers.
Yeah, just
doing the same thing
playing the guitar, Zimmer frame. I'm good, mate. In 10 years' time.
That's been a tough 10 years, man.
Mate, dude, he literally, that night we met you, he literally turned 30 that night. So he reckons by 40 he's going to be on Zimmer.
Mate, I'll feel about 80. I'll feel about 80.
What about you, Carl? Because obviously, like Jeff said, you've hit a lot of stuff already with the boys in Wolfshire, obviously, So.
That was a wild and very interesting and very proud journey that we were on. And again, like, we worked like damn hard for that. Just like, like yourselves and every other band that are on the circuit, we all worked damn hard to be where we are. And to be quite honest, if I could get to where Wolfjaw were, even half of where Wolfjaw were, to be honest, I'd just like to be out on the touring circuit again. And I think with the experience I've just been through, it's taught that in itself has taught me a lot. So, and it's made me realise how much just being out and seeing everyone means to me.
Yeah,
I'm dying to get back on a stage. Like absolutely dying to get back on a stage. Like I'd do anything to do it. And just being out in that environment, just being out with all your mates, all the fans, and just I miss it all like terribly. So it's in terms of like aspirations, yeah, I'd like to sort of. I mean, my goal has always been professional musician. I want to go touring, festivals, you know, record records and do that. And if I can put a roof over my head, I'm happy. Like, I've always said, and I always stick by, like, for instance, I work in the building trade. So you get a lot of people like, oh, how good would it be if you made it? I'm like, well, that completely depends on what you determine as making it, because a lot of people see making it as being like the richest person to walk the earth, celebrity status, big cars, this. To me, I earn what I earn, you know, digging holes Monday to Friday. If I could trade that in and get paid that amount of money to go out and play shows each day of the week, yeah, I've made it. If I can put a roof over my head and food on my table, I've made it by doing that. But that's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think any real musician would say that. If we can go out and not have a regular day job, that's it. I'm good. I'm happy, you know.
Winning at that point.
Yeah. That's kind of where I stand on that, really, yeah. So.
No, that's cool answer. I mean, one of the things you touched on there, which I can't wait for Jeff to experience, you know, is the community, you know, around sort of the scene, man. Like, Jeff, honestly, like, there's a real cool community, and I'm sure Vandal Harts will experience that, you know, quite quickly as well, because of naturally Karl's sort of connection to it. You know, all the bands know each other, and a lot of the crowd as well you get to know really well. They're almost like family because they come to the shows, you know.
Yeah.
And like when me and Karl saw each other on Saturday, you know, it's just because we constantly have them bump-ins, you know, and they're just such a good vibe, and I can't wait for you and the rest of the boys to become a part of that, you know. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it'll be good. I mean, when they did their tour with Crowbar, I was on tour with them for a week. I roadied for
amazing, man.
Yeah, so I haven't quite seen it, but I've experienced it.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's awesome. Well, yeah, I think
the best scene, the best community you could ever ask to be a part of. It really is. And like, I'm not saying that to get us any brownie points. Like I said, I've been in it, and I've been in it for the last God knows how many years. It really is. And I think every single band that's in our position, the position I was in to start off with, like you boys and everything else, like, we really, really are very lucky to have people that are as loyal as what they are. Like, you know, it's something I'll always be grateful for. So
yeah, 100%, man. Now, obviously, the golden question that people want to know is for folks who want to check Vandal Harts out, what gigs you got coming up?
Oh, well. So we have our first debut show. Our first debut show is January 22nd at the Robin in Bilston.
Oh, amazing.
After that, we are, I don't actually know if I can tell you about these yet, because I don't think they've been, no, I can't actually mention them, because they haven't been announced.
No.
That's all right. Well done for repressing yourself.
I think probably by the time this airs, the Robin show definitely will have been announced, so that's fine. The cool. Rest of them, I can't actually say as of yet where they are or when they are, but if you follow us on social media, it's dead easy. It's
we're on all of them, so we'll post as soon as something new comes up.
Awesome, boys. To be honest, I think that's a better headline for people, because if people want to see what you're about, there's fucking one show.
Man.
People want to be there. You know, I'd like to say that I've been at the first Vandal Harts show. I mean, I've now put pressure on myself to go.
Yeah.
It's about an hour's drive away, you know. I've told the boys, it's a little bit...
You've committed.
Aaron, you can't go, mate.
Why?
Why? You're playing the New Weather Classic Rock.
Oh, no, I am, aren't I? No, I've got it. What an excuse.
This is what gets me, that other people know your other gigs before you do.
I know. It's just, I'm just grateful. Just grateful to be here, to be honest. Never mind. But yeah, sadly, obviously, as I know, I can't make it to that first show. If anybody who's watching this, make sure you're there to support the boys, because if you can say you're at that first Vandal Harts show, I think that's a cool thing to say.
Yeah. You've all seen Rivers before, it's fine. You can come to us instead.
Don't come to our gig. Yeah, don't come to our gig. The boys won't mind.
No.
How you say normal business.
Turn up to an empty room.
Yeah, I don't want to play to an empty room. We'll move on.
Now, one thing that we'd like to finish on is another bit of a hypothetical. If you guys could tour with one band from the past and one band from the present, who would they be?
One band from the past. I mean, I say from the past, but I mean, we never actually know if they're actually done, but that'd be Sabbath. Like, no one actually knows if they're done. I mean, obviously they're still here, but are they done or are they not?
You've got like a time travel device, so you could potentially pick a specific era of Sabbath.
So you could have mid-70s, you know, 1970s Sabbath.
Very true.
You're going to get that. I mean, that's prime Sabbath. So that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. So if we go then, mid-70s Sabbath. Nowadays, if I go on tour one band, easy, Rival Sons.
Oh, we have that a lot.
Yeah,
to be fair.
popular one.
Yeah, I think I'd be the same. I think Rival Sons, we've said it a few times, they're the next classic band.
Easy. They are a step ahead of every single. They're just incredible, man.
Yeah,
incredible.
Good choice. What about yourself, Jeff?
Old band. I feel like Velvet Revolver.
Ooh,
Back
a new one.
Yeah.
Velvet Revolver, like, obviously Guns N' Roses had just finished. Velvet Revolver's coming out. Like, if I had to go on, if you're going to experience something that down, that messy, that just over the top, literally destructive, probably Velvet Revolver. Yeah, I'll be all over that. Present, Probably Tool, because I'm not paying £600 to go and see them.
To be fair.
So if I can get on the bill, that's great.
Well done. But I love the Velvet Revolver choice. Them two albums with Contraband and what was the one, Libertad or something.
Yeah, so different, but so them.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and it's a shame that it didn't really kind of have the time to, but I think it sits nicely in kind of, all the different musicians' timelines. So yeah, no, good choice, boys. Right, hang on, we've got a lot of bands here.
We do.
So what have we got? We've got Vandal Harts opening.
Yeah.
Yep, and then we've got Tool, we've got Rival Sons, we've got Sabbath, and we've got. Which one was your old band, Jeff? Oh, Velvet Revolver.
Velvet Revolver.
I'm going to have to make Sabbath headliners.
I was going to say, you got to make Sabbath.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I kind of feel like Tool should be headliners with Sabbath, and then Velvet Revolver kind of maybe further down. We'll chat about it afterwards. We'll sort it out. Leave it with us. We'll sort it out, and we'll make it happen. Yeah.
Can you not talk about it now? I was getting really engrossed in that.
No. Do you have any idea how hard this is to put together, Carl? All right. Fucking pain in the arse, man. All right.
Just turn the computer on.
He's lost the time machine. It's just it's a nightmare. Go and hit some bird in the car park. We won't get into it, but we'll make it happen. We'll look at booking it for next year.
Nice.
Yeah, like we say, boys, thanks ever so much for your time. For those that haven't checked out Carl and Jeff's new band, Vandal Harts, what are you doing?
I know.
What are you doing? You can check them out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the normal places. And obviously, you boys are heading to the studio come February, so we'll have to keep an ear to the ground for any new music. And obviously, that first debut show, is it the 22nd?
22nd, mate. That's the one.
22nd of January. And is it the Robin Bilston?
That's correct, mate. That is it.
22nd of January at the Robin Bilston.
I know you did well to pull all that out.
Pull it straight out.
Well, exactly remember my shows, mate.
For those that are confused, it's not me playing drums, it's Carl. For some reason, people think that we look like each other.
We get it a lot, man.
Really? Fucking, what do you mean, really?
Yeah.
I look just like Carl.
It's like brothers.
Especially with my kit off.
Right. I wouldn't know.
And you never will.
I would.
Thank God.
But yeah, thank you ever so much, boys, and can't wait to catch you on the road.
Well, thank you. Thank you, lads.
Cheers for having us, guys.
Really appreciate it, and it's been a good laugh. Enjoyed it.
It's been cool.
So yes, that was Jeff and Carl from the newly formed Vandal Harts. First gig, 22nd of January, the Robin in Bilston.
Yes.
So if you're available, if you're not watching me and the boys at Hard Rock Classic Rock, go and see the boys in Bilston. Yeah, I enjoyed that, man. Fucking great vibe, and we were basically just taking the piss throughout, weren't we?
But you've got to.
A few deep chats, bit of reflection, obviously on Wolfjaw, which I think was naturally going to come up, but also looking forward, and looking up. And I think it was interesting, like we mentioned it after the interview, but it is technically the date when we first released our interview with Tom.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, from today, as recording it, would, like a year ago.
Yeah, which is crazy, when I saw Carl off the cuff in Nottingham, met his band, and we said, we'll have to get you on the vibe, it's like, it's just like it was meant to be, which is very strange.
One of those weird things that happens.
Life does that to you. Yeah.
It does, but it's interesting. Seeing they had they've always kind of crossed paths. Didn't they say that they were going to like school together or college.
Yeah, I think they said they've been playing in bands since they were about 12 or 13.
Yeah, so they've had that.
It only feels right that for Carl's next journey, really, is that he's going to be in a band that he's... Are you laughing because I nearly burped then?
No, you ruined it. I was covering. No, it was because it felt like... It was like, you know, they've kept missing each other for this long,
and then it's finally come together.
Yeah, now it's finally come together, and it's like they've both kind of had this thing of like, we should probably be in a band together, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's bad,
yeah,
you know what I mean, Carl. But yeah, and like I said in the interview, I think it's cool for Carl that, you know, at a time when he needs people that, you know, and a positive outlet for music, as we spoke about, you know, it's a massive therapy process. For me as well, you know, when you go on stage, you don't think about anything. Yeah. You're literally just thinking about the music. And for Carl to have that with people that he trusts and that he's been friends with for a long time, I think it's badass. And yeah, looking forward to exciting things from Vandal Harts. Going straight into the studio in February, so they're not pissing around. I think it's going to be cool. We'll be there trying to capture much of it as we can, basically.
Yes, obviously go and check them out, go and like their page, it'll be in the description below, and of course if you like what we're doing, you can like and subscribe, of course. Every Wednesday from 10 a.m. We release a teaser trailer revealing what guest we have, of course. And the podcast itself does come out on a Saturday from 10 a.m. But if that isn't enough, I know.
We haven't done this in a while. I'm a little excited. Just enjoy it.
Yes, if that isn't enough, we also do things like extra vibes. We recently did the top 10 albums of 2021.
Yes, with Mr. Lee Graham.
Yes, lots of amazing albums in there to check out. And we also do like Beyond the Gear, which will return at some point.
We'll be coming and bothering lots of people out on the road.
Yes, so lots of things. And yes, we've got season 3 around the corner now. We're edging closer.
We're getting old
to the end of season 2.
We've been doing this for a while now, right? I know. You know what I mean? It's amazing we've got this far.
This is the 54th episode.
Pretending he doesn't know.
And you're still here.
Still here, supporting the vibe. So click the bell, and then you'll never miss an episode and be a part of the Vibe family. And we shall see you
next week.